my little test subject over here to demonstrate. So this is a small little mini circuit that I do for the kids. It's about 5 minutes per section. I'll have a couple kids on each, one per, whatever you want. All right, right here is a butterfly kick over the green, okay? Really simple. It's just a switch of the legs, okay? You're here, and you jump and you switch. Easy, all right? Then moving on to the next one, you have a scoot into a swing, and then you land it over the red, okay? So this is a prerequisite for what's later called a scoot gainer, all right? Just like that, easy. So you basically just swing into the butterfly kick that we just did over here, and that's a prerequisite for a scoot gainer. Rashawn, demonstrate what a scoot gainer looks like. That's what I'm talking about, all right? So it's basically just a scoot, right, into a one-leg backflip, and then last but not least, you have a cartwheel into a pop 3. Ready? Do it however you want. Yeah, do it that way probably. Perfect. He made it look a lot more complicated than it really is, but I trust you, or trust me, it's just that. All right, so I want actually, raise your hand if you're willing to try some of them. I want to see a lot of hands, please. Please, just try it. Christine, I know you've already done tricks. All right, yeah. Okay, if you want to demonstrate, Natalie, I'm looking at you too. I'm looking at you too. All right, I want to see some people try the butterfly kick. That's it. It's super easy. Okay, perfect. Let's go. Noonie, thank you so much, dude. Okay, really simple. So you just dip your chest down, you jump onto your right leg. Easy. It's so easy. Perfect. All right, so it's really not that complicated. The thing that I really like to do for kids that are a little bit scared on it is they start right here. It's basically just kind of like a cartwheel. So I'll have them put their hands on it and do a cartwheel if they can already do a cartwheel. So like this. Okay, so it's a lot easier for them like that because they're a lot less scared. They know cartwheels. And then a lot of my kids actually just kind of go like this and then they just lay flat right onto it. And that's fine too in the beginning. But I definitely try to tell them to jump all the way over it if they can. All right, and a lot of kids, they'll jump over it, they'll kind of land it, and then they'll fall and do a roll. Hey, that's fine too, all right, as long as they're not getting hurt. All right, on the second one, a lot of what I see here, let me just break down what a scoot is, okay? So you're gonna start with your dominant hand. I cartwheel with my left first. So I put that on the ground, and I put my left knee on the ground, and I jump onto my left leg, and I turn. Okay, it's super easy, I promise, all right? Some kids do this, just like that, okay? And so one thing I like to do is go into your scoot. All right, Rashawn might be a little bit heavy for this, but what I'll do your scoot, is I just hold him like this, and I kind of just throw him into a scoot. Do a scoot, ready? I just throw him into it like that. That helps them kind of get the idea of how to do the scoot itself. And then for the pop 3, I don't know why you're sitting down yet, buddy. All right, for the pop 3, you jump and you kick your good leg. Go for it. Pop 3. Yeah, sure, if you want. You don't have to do cartwheel, just pop 3. Go. All right, so he just jumps, kicks his left leg. It's literally this in the air. All right, so practice that a bunch of them. They'll do it. And then another thing that I want to go over is the games that I play with the kids. I think everybody, regardless if you do ninja or anything like that, these games are really fun. And I've got the cubes over there. One game I like to play that was inspired by Nick, he's not here yet, but is, thank you, every time they do their station, any amount of times you can pick, right? They get a cube, okay? You hand it to them, just randomly, all right? And their job is to get 5 of any color. It doesn't matter, but it has to be 5 of that color. And then they win, right? And as a coach, if you see there's a team that's working like really, really hard or they haven't won yet, you could kind of game the system a little bit to help those people win because they're demonstrating that they deserve it, right? But I like to add a lot of randomness into my games because it helps the kids not get super ultra competitive because I can be like, hey, it's just random, right? If they lose, right, they'll start crying, whatever. I've had that happen on the games. And I'm like, hey, look, it's just random. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and they like that. It helps them calm down a lot. And then another one I like to do with the cubes as well is I'll just grab a certain number of cubes, I'll put it in a bowl, and I'll put like 4 or 5 bowls out in a line, and their job is every time they go around, they can move 1 cube to the next bowl. All right, they can do it in any order they want, and their job is to get all of the cubes into the last bowl, right? That helps them stay motivated for their games, or you can play Connect 4 or whatever, right? It's pretty simple and self-explanatory for the kids, right? And you can do whatever you want. Like another shout out, Nick again. He's not here yet. But one thing he does is with the cubes, just make them draw an image or something. Be like, your job is every time you go around, you can get a cube, and I want this team to draw a fruit. This team, you draw a car and whatever. And they really, really, really love that one. And yeah, shout out Nick for giving me that idea. He just walked in. All right, perfect. All right, if everyone can move on over here, I've got some more stuff to demonstrate on the. One thing that always happens, I see a lot, Lauren's commented on it a lot, is that kids, when they're doing their trampoline turn, right, everyone else is just sitting on the air track, right, doing nothing, bouncing, whatever it might be. So for the ninja class, a lot of the time I like to do it where this is a secondary station and the primary thing is to do something else. So using the butterfly kick that we learned earlier, or if you saw, okay, you're gonna do a butterfly kick with a twist into the pit. Rashawn, demonstrate. So yeah, this is called a B twist or a butterfly twist, and it's literally just a butterfly kick with a 360 from the red. Yeah, not from the trampoline. Definitely not from the trampoline. So I would have this be the main station where I can help them fix their technique. All right, demonstrate. All right, you just butterfly kick with 1 full twist into the pit. It's pretty easy. All right, so a precursor to that, I would say, is they start in their butterfly kick position just like this, and then you just have them literally fall over onto their back and not jump, not do anything. They twist, if they put their left hand down for a cartwheel, they would twist to the left. All right, so they just do their butterfly kick, and they would pull their shoulder over. Is it backwards? For us, it's the right way. For a tricker,
Wait, right hand down. The same hand be your right. For the cartwheel. The cartwheel first hand is left, you twist to the left.
yeah.
That's actually like really important.
Yes.
As soon as you get a kid, try to make sure they always twist to their good side.
Yeah.
Because if they're one of the kids that like cartwheel one way and twist the other way, when they get to like level 2 and level 3, they just
they completely forget how to do things. I have a bunch of kids that are like that, where they were in heroes classes and they would cartwheel to the left, they would twist to the right, they would butterfly kick to the left, they would kick to the right, they would do all sorts of things backwards, and that's very counter to the whole point, right? We want to build everything stacked on top like building blocks, right? So I would very much appreciate if in your heroes class or you're substituting, you make sure, hey, which way do you twist? All right. And they're like, oh, I don't know, because they do that a lot. And you're like, hey, can you show me a cartwheel or just do a 360 or whatever? That really, really helps them understand these concepts. Because if they don't know which way they twist, you'll be like, okay, do your twist into the pit. And they're just like, and then they just don't know what's going on, right? So yeah, I'd have them practice their butterfly kick into the pit with a twist, all right? And then again, with the trampoline, I would have some sort of game, right? They all love the trampoline. I would say, if you're doing the cube game that I showed earlier, where they're like moving the cubes, however close they get to landing it, I would say you just like, okay, now you can move 3 cubes, or you can move 5 cubes. You landed it for the first time? You know what? Move all of the cubes. We're done. We're out of here, right? Stuff like that. It's very fun for me, I would say, because I really like having the kids push themselves, do the best they can on the tramp. If you're doing stations where some kids right there on the red do not, I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory, I hope, but do not have people going off the trampoline into the pit to practice skills. I've had incidents where a different class was going in. I told my class, don't jump yet. He goes, what, jump? And then they like almost collide. It's no good. But if you wanted them to do some stuff into the pit off the trampoline, I would say just stick to basic flips, right? Front flip or side flip. If you know how to teach a side flip, I can get into that in a little bit. But yeah, please be careful with this. I've had kids almost get seriously hurt with that. So then I really like this sort of 2 station, or I'd have some sort of station on the bar as well. So it's like a circuit. I really love doing that. It's very, very fun. All right, over here, let's scoot over this way a little bit, guys. We got another 3-ish station area. I really like this. I feel like this isn't utilized enough in the heroes classes that I see and how they're taught. Into the pit off the rod floor is the perfect space for the kids to learn how to build their power, build their technique, learn new stuff, right? And it's easier for me personally to spot kids from here rather than the red. The red's sloped and all of that. So I would have them practice something in here, whatever they want. Rashawn, demonstrate whatever you want into the pit.
Whatever I want?
Whatever you want. Standing dove, sure.
Okay.
With shoes is crazy.
You got this, dude. You got it.
There you go. Backflip with 2 twists. Why not? All right. So I'd have them practice something like that. Backflip, front flip, side flip, B twist. Literally anything that you know, right? They like doing it. You can even tell them, hey, you know what skill you want? And they're like, no. And you're like, okay, well, do this then. Or if they do know, have them practice that. I like having them practice some stuff off this as well, just to build up the fear of the heights and stuff. Tuck jump, front flip, whatever you want, right? But since the floor got fixed over here, thankfully, this can also be a station, right? I like to do this one where it's a little bit of an easier thing because the ledge is right here. I don't want them flipping around, flying all over the place. But I like them to practice their twisting power, you know, like their vertical twisting. And I tell them, jump in the pit, twist as much as you possibly can. And sometimes it's really funny because they just twist, 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 and then they just go straight into the pit. Hilarious. All right, and then the last part over there of this like 3-round circuit, right? This is where I usually sit or stand or hover over their technique because this area right over here has a lot of space width-wise. You can move the mat out of the way. You can do whatever you want. But I like going right here because I can be standing literally just like this. They get the space. I get to teach them what to do. And so I usually pick the most difficult thing for right here so that way I can help them learn how to do it, right? I can spot them. I can do whatever they want and stuff like that. But the one thing that I want to see less of is obstacle courses just for the sake of going on an obstacle course. So lately, we're trying to change the way that the ninja classes operate where it's more focused on learning how to do the skills. So if you guys do ever want to substitute or you just want to learn how to teach it even in more depth, just ask me. I have pages upon pages of stuff for you to do and learn. So when I put my kids on an obstacle course, I always make sure that I have at least one skill we're working on and one new thing that helps them in some whatever way I want, right? So for the case on this course right here, right, if this week we're practicing our vaulting, climbing over blocks and stuff, right? That's the red right there. Rashawn, go demonstrate a vault on the red. Go for it.
Yeah, all right.
You know how to vault. You did parkour before you even did tricking. Let's see. What vault is he going to do? You can do a Kong vault? Yeah, I'll go over the vaults in a second. Just do a Kong vault. Okay, never mind. That's a safety vault. Okay? Safety vault is as follows, right? They put one hand on, the other foot on, and they just step right on through. All right? So they can step. They don't have to jump. Then there's the Kong vault. You can do a Kong vault, right? All right? Hands wide, feet in between. Okay, I see a lot of this. Can you hold this real quick? I see a lot of this on Kong vaults where they go like this. Okay, that does not count, right? Their feet have to go through the middle in order for it to count. Okay, thanks. All right, and then dash vault is kind of like a backwards version of a Kong vault. It's feet first and then hands. That one's pretty tricky for the kids, but they really like it, so have them try it. And if they mess it up, they just kind of like plop on it like this. No harm, no foul. All right. So on this course, practicing the vaulting, and then the biggest thing is I like having my kids practice their fear of heights, because that's a big thing that I see a lot. A lot of kids are very, very afraid. And so I'll have them just run as fast as they can, jump as far as they can, because when I tell them to jump as far as they can, they don't think about how high it is. And that's my trick for you. If you tell them to jump far, they're like, oh, I must not be jumping that high then, even if it's pretty high. And obviously, if you want to take steps where they're on the red, anything like that, the trapeze, they love the trapeze, all right? That's super fun, and I love having them do that. Next, for the bars, honestly, I just like having them exercise on the bars. I don't really have them practice all that much. They don't really like practicing new stuff on there. So I just have them go climb all the way across. They like doing that. And then, go to the middle of the bar, do as many pull-ups as you can. And if they're like, Coach, I can't do a pull-up, and I'm like, well, just pull as hard as you can for 5 seconds, even if you don't get all the way up. All right, so again, these are the kind of things that I want to see incorporated in other heroes classes, right? I just want to see a lot more stations dedicated to the actual tricks that they should be learning. Again, if you have any questions, you're like, I don't even know where to start, okay? Just start with the drills that we did over there: butterfly kick, scoot, cartwheel. That's it, right? Those 3 things, you can never not practice that enough. I still practice it, and I've been doing this for 2 or 3 years. Nick and Rashawn practice it all the time, and they've been doing it even longer than me. And so it'll never be too much. Is another of the most important skills for the ninjas to learn, which is the shoulder roll. It's important not only because they think it's cool, I think it's cool, but if they fall from a height, I've seen it happen all the time. They're climbing across the monkey bars in the ninja cage or whatever the case may be, right? They fall down and they do the classic this, okay? And not only is that not safe, right, but it's scary for them. So the shoulder roll, it's the most important thing. It's just like a normal forwards roll, but instead of going over top of your head, you turn your head to the side, kind of like you're a confused puppy, okay? Just to the side, and then you roll forwards onto your shoulder. So you should draw a diagonal line from the top right, in my case, to the bottom left of my back. Do you want to demonstrate? I have them put both hands down like this. I take this hand, okay, my right hand, and I have them put it all the way across like this. And then I just tell them, move their head to the side and do a forwards roll. All right, and that's your shoulder roll. That's perfect. I love that. It's a lot easier. And then, here, can you do that? Just put both your hands on the blue. And then what you can do is you can help spot them by grabbing this arm, and you can just kind of help. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go. You can help just throw them over if they don't know what they're doing, right? But yeah, I definitely want to stress that it's still basically a forwards roll, but you turn over to the side. Once the kids are a little bit more advanced, you can teach them a dive roll, which is just a jump into a shoulder roll. So it's important that you teach them to put their hands down on the shoulder roll, because when they do a dive roll, they put their hands down when they go for it, okay? And I see a lot of kids, they're like, hey, coach, I want to learn how to do a dive roll. I'm like, okay, buddy, go for it on the wedge, and they just do this. And I'm like, well, that's not really a dive roll. You got to put your hands down, all right? And then another skill, the macaco. It's kind of like a cartwheel, a one-arm cartwheel, where you start facing backwards. Yeah. And you want to do it on the wedge, you want to do it on the floor? I don't know. Okay. So he's going to start facing towards me. He's going to jump backwards, go onto his left hand, and jump onto his right leg like a cartwheel, or 2 feet, whichever you prefer. All right. So I have them start on the wedge, sitting down, feet on the edge, and they go into a one-arm tabletop. I have them look where they want to jump, and then they just jump onto their foot. Just like that. And you'll be like, hey, it's just kind of like a cartwheel. All right, and that one's really important because that can lead into back handspring, or in the tricker case, a Valdez, which is a one-arm back handspring with your dominant arm, which would be left for me. Okay, so normal like gymnastics cartwheel, forgive me, I was never a gymnast, but they start facing forwards, hips over, all right, and they face back this way. At least I think so, I don't know. All right, but for a tricker cartwheel, you start facing sideways, you kind of do like a little back step into it, and your arms, instead of coming over the top, they come to the side here, all right? And so instead of going over the top, it's a little bit more over the side. And that is important for what leads out of a cartwheel. The most popular trick in tricking, besides maybe the cork and the gainer, is the cart full, which looks like this. All right? And so it's important that after you land the cartwheel, this rotational energy goes into the flip portion. So, cool. That's pretty much it. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed it.